Hey, this is Joe from Ask Joe About Money, and today we're going to do a video that I'm super excited that you're going to love this video because we're going to talk about how do I manage my profits and losses? How do I manage my profits and losses? And why is this important? Well, it's important because why are we trading? The reason to trade is because we want to make a profit. But also there's times where there are losses. Now, I have a whole separate video series that I do when I talk about profits and losses are a function of our performance in the trading arena, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is that, you know, if you're a trader and you've ever logged in to a trading software, you know that what you will see is a place that displays your profit and loss. And this is what causes so much anxiety. Because guess what? If you're making money, it has a nice green number. You love to stare at it. It looks great and emotionally it feels good. Or you have that red number. And we don't want to look at the red number, right? Because it attacks us. It makes us feel bad. Well, here's the thing. The first thing we need to realize is this, is that trading is a game. Profits and losses are just a way for us to assess, are we managing the game well or not? That red number, and I know because I was there, but that red number, your goal should be to have that be disassociated with you as a person. Because have you ever been in a situation where you have a red day, you have a red week, and you just go home and you just feel like a loser? You're just not happy. You're not fun to be around. But you know why? There's only one reason for that. The reason for that is because we are identifying, we are making meaning around our P&L, and the only meaning that we should make from it is say, well, I lost money today. I wonder what I could learn from that. Because if you lost money, someone doing the opposite of what you did actually made money that day. So maybe you weren't aligned with the market. Maybe you didn't come in with the proper thought process. Maybe it was a good trade and it was just one of the losing trades, right? That happens 40 to 50 to 60% of the time. So let me show you how the pros do this. Let me show you how the pros manage their P&L. A couple of things I want to first define. And defining our P&L by a dollar number is for losers. Okay, you see people post on Twitter, on social media, how much they've made dollar-wise. What I would like to know is how much do they have in their account? How much did they risk to make that? Maybe a huge profit in dollar terms, but they have a $100 million account. Well, if you made $10,000 in a $100 million account, that's not very much money. On the flip side, if you made $10,000 on a $25,000 account, I could tell you that you're taking on way too much risk, and that's not going to work because the risk of ruin is going to get to you eventually. But so what we do is we base our results based on our account value. Okay, so let's say, for instance, okay, we have an account value of $100,000. Okay, so let's say we have an account value of $100,000. Let me switch this to, okay, so if we have $100,000 in our accounts, the term that I want to teach to you today is basis points. Professionals look at their performance based on basis points. So what's an example? What is a basis point? Well, 1% equals, okay, 1% equals 100 basis points. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to learn, is that 1% of our account equals 100 basis points. Okay? So now, if I wanted to risk 1% of my account on a trade, for example, that would be what? That would be $1,000. And the 1 basis point would also be, or the 1% would be 100 basis points. Now, why is that important? Well, that's important because for a couple of reasons. First of all, is it's a way for us to look at our results based on account equity. Okay? On account equity. Now, the first thing you have to decide is how much per trade do you want to risk? So if you want to risk 1% of your account per trade, that's 100 basis points. 100 basis points. So what happens is when we're looking at it as a percentage, so if you have a trade and you make $500, that would be 0.5% or 50 basis points, right? So this is going to serve you in two ways. First of all, it's going to take the dollar, okay? It's going to take the dollar away from your assessment of your results. You're just looking at it, well, what's a reasonable base? What's a reasonable, expectation over time? What would be considered a good day? What would be considered a good week? What would be considered a good month, right? And so when you're looking at it in terms of basis points, what's happening is you're going to look at it in terms of your account equity, okay? Look at it in terms of your account equity. So here is the main takeaway for today. Don't look at dollar amount. Look at account equity. Okay? So we don't want to look at the dollar amount. We want to look at the account equity. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that the only number that should matter to you at the end of the day, at the end of the trading day, is how much equity do I have in my account? How much equity do I have in my account? Because it's the percentage of your equity and how you position size that's going to determine your results. Now, on the upside, so the first part of this lesson is to understand that the reason why we're looking at it from this perspective is that we want to disassociate from the dollar amount. So we want to take the dollars out of it. That's the first reason. But the second reason is that imagine you're making money in the market and all of a sudden your $100,000 is now $200,000. Okay, you've doubled your account. Okay? Now, at that point, if you're taking a trade that has 100 basis points risk, right? Let's say you're taking a trade of 100 basis points. What's happening now, if you're looking at it from dollar amount, and I know because I struggled with this as I was sizing up my account. When you're looking at 100 basis points, all of a sudden, now your trade in dollar figures is double. The same risk, right? 100 basis points, 1% of your account. But now you're like, oh gosh, these numbers are really big. So what happens here, okay, what happens is that as we grow our account, because that's the goal, right? What we want to do here is we want to build our account. We want to grow our account. And we want to look at our risk in terms of basis points. So when we're growing our account, again, this helps on the upside. Initially, it's going to help on the downside as we're going along the curve. But once we become profitable and we're a positive expectancy trader, what's going to happen is the numbers are going to get too large for us to handle. And if it's the same system and we're trading the same way, the only way is to trade larger sizes, trade more contracts, trade more shares. So what's going to happen is we're going to have mental blocks there. And the way to deal with that is look at it in terms of basis points. Look at it in terms of basis points. So here we are. So how do I manage my profits and losses? Here are the big ahas and takeaways. Okay, don't look at the dollar amount. Look at the account equity. Okay, and why? Why are we doing all this? Well, there's two reasons that we're doing all of this. So let me go back. Why? Right? Because everything that we do, we're going to say, why are we doing this? Well, reason number one is to not worry about dollars. Okay. And number two is we want to focus on performance, right? So basically the reason why we're doing this is we don't want to worry about the dollars and we want to focus on performance, okay? So again, how do I manage my profits and losses? Don't look at the dollar amount, look at the account equity. We don't want to worry about the dollars, and I should say here, because we manage risk by basis points, okay? And so in second, we want to focus on performance. So again, this is a quick lesson, and the big takeaway here is that start looking at your ending equity. Don't worry about your dollar figures, because the goal is to manage our risk, and then the goal is to grow our account, and we can't do that by staring at our P&L that has dollars associated with it. With that, trade well, and don't forget, manage your risk.